which one of you decided to go and start bad-mouthing the Chinese government, huh? Who here thought they had permission to say anything critical of Chinese politics?
Please, Mr. Marsh was only standing up for me and Piglet because we were political prisoners.
You are a fat diabetic bear, and if the Chinese don't want you, then I don't either. Now who the fuck is Mr. Marsh?
Oh, that's me, Randy Marsh.
Who is this? I don't know you. Are you from Pixar?
No, I'm from South Park.
What's South Park? Do I own that?
No, not yet, sir.
Well, hello, kiddies. It's your friendly neighborhood watchman, here with you today to talk about comic book writer Chuck Dixon taking it to Disney and their mishandling of some of their franchises via an article from Bounding Into Comics with the byline by the ubiquitous Spencer Backley with the heading Alpha Core writer Chuck Dixon blasts Disney's mishandling of Marvel and Lucasfilm. Quote, they screwed both of them up in the worst ways you can imagine. End quote. And how can you disagree with that? Hell, box office vindicates that statement. But without further ado, let's dive on in. It's a sentiment shared by many fans, or perhaps more accurately, former fans of the once beloved entertainment studios. In the opinion of Alpha Core co-creator Chuck Dixon, Marvel Entertainment and Lucasfilm have been completely mismanaged ever since their respective purchases by Disney. And brother, you ain't just whistling Dixie. With their subsequent outputs being nothing short of absolutely abysmal. Chuck means business, indeed. The Marvel Comics and DC writer turned Rippaverse scribe offered his appraisal of the House of Mouse's mishandling of the two studios while speaking to My Hero Macadamia and Superman Volume 3 colorist Brent R. Smith on the current state of the entertainment industry during the latter's Bounding Into Comics exclusive live show Escape the Future. And if you haven't subscribed to Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? And while you're at it, if you haven't subscribed to mine, please do so. Help a brother out. But I digress. To continue, amidst a resulting discussion on how mainstream comic book publishers suffered under their own self-aggrandizing attempts to appeal to female readers by injecting, quote, third-wave feminism, end quote, into every aspect of their books, Smith raised his frustrations with the fact that, as a result of said pandering, industry's key demographic, young males, had been completely abandoned. It's like this. One size fits all now, you know. We're just going to make comics for everybody. We're not going to cater to girls. We're not going to cater to boys with certain titles or ideas. And I think that's a failure on that part as well, said the show's host. They've kind of just given up on the things that get young boys excited or interested in these characters. I just don't see it anymore. Neither do I. Agreeing with Smith, the former Batman Volume 1 author, opined, well, no, because they're going to reject what they see, like they've rejected so much. I mean, comics aren't the only thing suffering. Dixon proceeded to elaborate of his take. Look at the population of people going on to college and university. It's 70% female, yeah, because guys get to university. This happened to me in 1972. I went to the orientation to Temple University and thought, they don't want me here, you know? A white guy from the suburbs. I'm not welcome here. They don't want me, so I didn't go. And that has to happen over and over and over and over again. That either at orientation or by the end of the freshman year, the guy says, I don't know, I'm a persona non grata here. And my parents are paying a fortune for me to be here. So I'm out. And we're seeing that across the board, he continued. I mean, the streaming services, movie attendance, television series, everything else is falling apart because they're not aiming it at an audience that actually wants to see it. To this end, Dixon then focused his criticism directly on the House of Mouse, exclaiming to Smith, "Look what Disney did. Spent $8 billion to get two male-oriented franchises and immediately turned them into girly stories." "Yeah, you know, Chris Gore talked about that," Smith replied. "Disney's already got their princess line. Why do you need to take characters that are typically male-centric or things that boys like and turn them into princesses? I don't understand this at all." Neither do most of us common sense folks. In turn, the veteran comic book creator declared, "It's like it was the only thing they knew how to do," 'cause it is. Talk about Kathleen Kennedy here. The force is female, remember? Drawing his thoughts on Disney to a close, Dixon concluded, "But their stated intent, I remember reading about this exclusively when they bought Marvel and Lucasfilm, they needed material for boys. They didn't have anything for boys in their library, and then they, screwed both of them up in the worst possible ways you can imagine. It's amazing how bad they've been at this." Featuring a story by Dixon and art by Immortal Hulk Volume 1, artist Joe Bennett, Rippaverse's Alpha Core Volume 1, Number 1 is now on sale. Support Chuck Dixon, who has the guts to go against the tide that's taken over the mainstream comic books industry. So folks, as always, when we can spare the time and have the opportunity, we'll go take a peek into a few readers' comments. First up, from Andrew Phantom, we have, "Did you just notice it now? Back in the late 2000s, it was noticeable how Disney Plus was gradually abandoning anything for a male or truly general audience and began producing mainly content for girls. That's when they closed Jetix and switched from cool animated series to endless sitcoms for teenage girls. I was an active viewer at the time and I quickly noticed this." Good observation. I didn't grow up on the Disney Plus channel. It didn't exist when I was a kid. So I was oblivious to all this. "Quite enough," Sayer replies. "I noticed because my daughter was watching the Disney Channel before they came out with the Disney Plus. And it seemed not only were all the programs geared toward girls, but they were awful bad acting. Stiff line reading. But they owned the channel and didn't need ratings. So there was no criteria for making it good, just plentiful. Give you like." Outness E adds, "If I remember correctly, Jodie Benson even commented on that bit in an interview leading up to Ariel's beginning. That's also the reason she insisted Ariel retain her rebellious streak, since they otherwise would have had her undergo the exact same sitcom archetype. Granted, the film still stank, but at least she tried to salvage it by trying to keep Ariel somewhat in character, even if the rest of the cast, unfortunately, was OOC, especially for a prequel." Next, we have Angry Rodent, quoting, "I mean, the streaming services, movie attendance, television series, everything else is falling apart because they're not aiming it at an audience that actually wants to see it. That sums up modern Hollywood completely. Along with AAA video game studios, most major publishing houses, and the comics industry. It's no wonder indies are taking everything by storm, despite the attempts gatekeeping by established organizations. As history teaches us, the dinosaurs will fail and die, while the newcomers will rebuild a new world without them." Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more. Canadian Rebel replies, 100% this. The thing that should not be also joins in. What the worst and most sinister part is that they not only don't care what people want to see, their only interest is preaching the message. Say that again. Their attempts to gatekeep extend beyond just indies. They target any media that people turn to get away from their propaganda trash. Just look what's happening to the Japanese gaming industry and what is going on with manga and anime. Western media, stores, and tech companies have been targeting and harassing content they don't like, especially anything sexy or with fan service. We have online stores banning the sale of things that would be allowed in any other content, not even R-rated content. You're absolutely 100% correct. From Anonilo, Disney's failure is impossible to ignore now. The excuses are running thinner and thinner. More and more established people are going to start talking about it. But still, nothing will change until the entire company is purged from the ground up. That means you, Bob Iger, and Kathleen Kennedy. So kiddies, with that said, we've come to the end of another video. If you agree with the opinions presented in this article and by the reader comments, then please hit that like button and help the channel out by subscribing if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so that you always be given a heads up whenever I'm about to drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.
We'll lose Star Wars to the Chinese forever.
Pretty neat, huh? How would you like to have one?
I can get those at Kmart.